Last week, we talked about 5 reasons why money is scary. This week, I want to talk specifically to my intra and entrepreneurs, and I'm going to provide you 3 main reasons why money is especially scary to us. The first one is it's really difficult for us to invest back into our business. I'm going to give you a scenario. You make some money in the first month and you're really excited about it and you think that that's going to be your new normal. So you find yourself spending, you're catching up your spending to reach that new revenue stream. But what ends up happening is by the end of that month, you realize the following month is not going to look as good in terms of revenue sometimes. And as a result, you find yourself overdrafting on your bank account and or leveraging more credit card debt in order to just make ends meet. And you're on this cycle of making some money, feeling like it's going to be great and everything has changed, and then finding yourself in a stressful and fearful situation yet again. So here's what I encourage you to do when it comes time for you to start investing back into your business. The first thing is to actually identify how much you want to invest back into your business. For example, if you want to hire somebody, figure out how much it's going to cost to hire that person each month. Let's call it $1,500. Every month, make it a priority for you to set that $1,500 a month into a separate account. That way, you're getting used to paying that dollar amount and you have it set aside. And if possible, try to do this 3 months in a row. So by the end of those 3 months, you have the $4,500 set aside sitting there. This lets you know a number of things. Number 1, you actually can afford that $1,500 a month fixed even with your variable or fluctuating revenue. Number 2, you've proven to yourself that it's comfortable enough for you to set that $1,500 aside. And number 3, you've built up a little nest egg of that $1,500 a month for that new hire. So now, if in month 4 you do make that hiring decision and that revenue is a little bit lower than what you were hoping for, you have some money set aside specifically for that person's paycheck. The second money issue that I see with my variable income earners, and this goes especially for my service-based industry earners, okay, is that you charge way too little, okay? You find yourself desperate for the sale, so you cut back on what you are actually worth. Rather than just guessing how much you should be charging, let's actually look at some dollar amounts. Last week, you set a budget based off of what you want your finances to look like. We talked about that briefly in those 5 reasons why money is scary. Now that you know how much money you want to be making each month, look at what that looks like on an annual basis. All right? You have your annual revenue amount. Now, let's translate that dollar amount to an hourly rate. What I want you to do is look at how many hours you want to be working each year. Not are working, not have been working, not, well, I could be working. No, how much you want to be working, okay? First thing you're gonna do is figure out how many hours a day, multiply that by how many days a week, and then lastly, multiply that by how many weeks a year. So if there's 52 weeks a year and you wanna take 1 week off every other month, okay, that means you're working 46 weeks a year. Now you have the total number of hours that you want to work annually. You take the revenue desired annually, divide it by the hours desired to be worked annually, and now you have your hourly rate. So now you have this dollar amount. Compare it to what you have been charging. And if you don't charge as on an hour basis, look at your packages or programs and see how much time it actually takes you to complete those with a client. And be realistic in those estimates. If it takes you 10 hours, but the client only sees 8 of them, it still takes you 10 hours. Multiply those 10 hours by the hourly rate that you calculated and look at that total dollar amount. Are you charging under that amount? If so, that is becoming a burden and an obstacle in your business, and why it might be more difficult for you to invest back into your business. For the final reason why money is scary for us as intra and entrepreneurs, it really boils down to one main thing: saying no. Okay? We find ourselves desperate for that sale sometimes. And so we extend our boundaries. We maybe take a little bit of a discount that we don't really want to be providing, right? Maybe we take on that client that we don't actually want to work with, okay? Saying no is by far the best thing you can do for your business. I'll give you an example. When I first started Mills Knows Bills, I did not say no to somebody who I knew was not going to be the perfect fit for my one-on-one coaching program. But I was in a position where I felt like I needed the sale. So I brought this client in, I started working with them, and unfortunately, this person was committed to being confused. I mean, committed to being confused about what the program entailed, how much work was involved, what the results were going to be. No matter how much I explained it, that commitment was a stronghold, my friend, right? And it got to a point where this client became so much more of a headache that I ended up firing that client. It's the only client I've ever fired, in fact. And it wasn't because they did something wrong. They weren't a good fit. They weren't a good fit for me. It wasn't a good fit for their personality or where they were in life at the time. And I should have done my due diligence to say no to them at the beginning. So rather than letting it prolong much farther than it needed to, instead I said, you know what, this isn't working out for either of us. I'm not going to be the coach you need, and let's cut our losses from here. It was really scary saying that, because with that went the rest of the payment plan with that person. But the second that I let that client go, I had two more take that spot. And these two clients were the best clients that I've ever had. They've been the most fun. They've stuck around. We become really good friends. So sometimes you need to say no to that revenue in order to make space for something even better. And in the same capacity, maybe take a look at your employees too. Sometimes you need to fire an employee. You need to say no to them, or maybe not make that hire in the first place, even though you're desperate to alleviate that time commitment on your own schedule. So in summary, yes, as intra and entrepreneurs, we have those 5 reasons why money is scary. But for us, because we make a variable income, we still have those extra 3. I encourage you to take a look at where you stand in your finances. And if you have a question about overcoming any of these obstacles, reach out to us at info@millsknowsbills.com so we can make sure that we get you on the right track. We'll see you next time.